Hello everybody and welcome to my playthrough of Final Fantasy II on the Pixel Remaster collection. Continuing this off shortly after finishing Final Fantasy I, and hopefully we'll push through them at a little bit of a quicker rate than the last one. I had a couple of times I was ill. But getting started with this one, we're aiming to do this as a 100% playthrough, same as Final Fantasy I, where we've got to complete the bestiary, get all the chests, and do whatever miscellaneous achievements there are in the meantime. So without further ado, let's get started with the game. And we've got to name our characters, but these ones come preset, so I'm just going to keep them as Firia, Maria, Guy, and Leon. So stick in with those names, and we'll get the nice introduction to the game. So I'll typically be quiet during cutscenes like that just to let you concentrate and read. Listen to the great music. But here we are into our first fight. And as you'll quickly notice here, we can't do any damage to these opponents even if we manage to hit them, which hitting them is even a rare miracle then, and there it is. And we're just all going to immediately go down in one hit, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. It's one of those classic games where your scripted first fight is one for you to lose. And then we're going to very quickly get taken to a new place. And healed up. Will he live? He will. I sense a strong life force within him. He should regain consciousness soon. We found them like this on the escape from Finn, fallen from terrible wounds. By the time we found them it was too late. Do not worry, the signal will strengthen its force. We'd best be off to the meeting. I imagine they're already waiting for us. If the Empire is allowed to complete the dreadnought they're building in Bafsk, be too late. We cannot sit idly by and watch. I skipped through the dialogue a bit quick there, but most of the time I'll try and read out what they say. This has got a much better and much more interesting story than Final Fantasy I. It's much improved. Where am I? Leon. Maria? Guy? Where are you? We've woken up in a strange place and our whole party's missing. And then we immediately found two of them. Firion, you're alive! I thought you'd... I'm fine, Maria. You seem alright too, Guy. But wait, where's Leon? Princess of Finn, save us. But Leon not here. I see. Don't worry. I'm sure he's okay. So you notice Guy speaks very simplistically in this game, in that it's a bit blunt of how he speaks. So you've regained your strength. Very good. Your life force is strong indeed. It was you who saved us, wasn't it? Thank you. Forgive me, Your Highness, but there's something I must ask of you. Please let us join the rebel army. I could never allow such a thing. You know nothing of battle. You would only be throwing your lives away. You should return to your homes. But we have no homes, not anymore. The Imperials attacked, and our parents. I am truly sorry, but that changes nothing. I cannot permit you to join our army. If you've nowhere else to go, you're welcome to stay here in Altair. If you know our password, you should be able to live here well enough. So this is one of the mechanics of Final Fantasy II. People will give you keywords or passwords, and you can see it as text, as red text in the dialogue. So you'll just want to go to learn and then make sure you learn the specified keyword, and then make sure you always ask that character it back. And then there's a couple of characters throughout the game that you'll have to ask specific keywords to. But what will become of Finn now? I've heard the Empire captives suffer there in the confinement even as we speak. Maria, your brother Leon is missing as well, is he not? It's possible he's being held in Finn as well. But Finn is far too dangerous to travel to now. The Emperor's beasts still stalk the streets. Gaining entrance to the city will not be easy. The man at my right is Minwu, the white wizard who tended to your wounds. Speak with him before you leave. He may be of some assistance. So when you speak to people, any key characters, you'll have the dialogue box like this in the bottom left, where you can show them key items, learn keywords from them, or ask them about the keywords. So there's 15 missable, or there's 15 keywords you'll need to get in this game. Some of them are missable, so just make sure anytime you see red text appear, you always interact with them. One of the main things about this game is the leveling system is vastly different, so I'm going to make a little bit of changes to the game. So in the boost settings in here, and like the last game where I left it by default, I'm going to change the weapon skill and magic skill level boost to 2 times. These can scale up to 4 times. Because instead of gaining stats as you level up in this game, each weapon type and magic has a leveling system it goes through from 0 to 16, 16 being the highest. As you use them, they will level up. And then your stats increase as you do battle, depending on whether that stat came into play. We'll get a little bit of dialogue explaining that shortly for you guys to read through, because there's characters you can speak to that explain it. But in essence, like the more you cast magic, the more your MP and magic stat goes up. The more you get hit, the more your health goes up, and I believe there's another one that does it, and then so on and so on. Just the more you do things in combat that are relevant to that ability, the more it goes up. I see your destiny clearly, the future holds it closely. You'll be journeying to Finn, the first step towards realizing your fate. And then, yeah, as you can see there, if you use the password into someone that has it come up, they'll just give you a little bit of extra dialogue. I'll read the main dialogue that comes up that people say to us during, like, what's the equivalent of cutscenes, but any random person we speak to, because I enjoy just getting all the dialogue boxes to pop up on the screen, I won't read out, I'll just let them be there for you to read as and when you need. So yes, as I was saying, in this game, the leveling system is vastly different, and we've got 2 key achievements we're going to be looking for to do as part of that, where we've got to get a weapon up to level 16 and a magic system, or a magical spell up to level 16. So I'll show you some parts in the game where we're going to do that, but you should get most of the way there on a specific weapon anyway. And yeah, you could change the boosts up to ×4 if you really wanted to, just to make it even quicker. But I think ×2 will probably be enough for me. But yeah, as I was saying, the story in this game is much more scripted, is probably the way I'd go. Of like, you get a bit more understanding of what's going on and you have a core aim. Whereas Final Fantasy 1, you explore around a lot and interact with certain areas and find out what's going on there, and then you get a new side quest of like, hey, can you go and do this, which ends up relating to the main plot. So we've started in the hideout in the town of Finn, and there's one other thing we need to pick up in here other than the password, which was the chest you might have just briefly saw. But I'm going to go in here first and show you all the different characters you can speak to that will just explain various mechanics of the game. So this one is just going to give us a rundown of the fact that there's multiple different weapon types. In this game you can equip 2 weapons at the same time, and then you will attack with each of them. Or you can equip 2 shields and then you'll just be really, really tanky. You can still be unarmed and stuff as well. So stats are obviously just your stats: strength, MP, magic, spirit, intellect. And he'll just have a quick rundown of what they are now. I'll let these come up and you can read them if you want to, but I'm gonna probably talk over them as to the other the other main bits I want to talk about for this game. So yeah, there's the leveling system that's different. The story is different. It's much more focused. And if you've seen a lot of reviews of Final Fantasy 2 or tier lists of Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy 2 is definitely one of the ones that comes the lowest. So yeah, quickly run through here. You can see all the different stats you've got, and then on the right it shows you the weapon slots as well. Looking at characters, you've got the same slots as you expect. And then magic is you have tomes that you will teach to people, and then they'll gain that spell. We don't have spell slots, which I much prefer having an MP system, but I don't like the leveling system for magic in this game because it's not tiers. Your magic levels up. A very interesting thing about this game is all magic can be single cast or multicast. I'll show you a bit more about that when we get into a combat engaging in the game, but it will tone down the power or the potency of both the healing and the damage, but it will hit everybody, and vice versa if you make it single target, but it's really nice. Spells do level up when you use them outside of battle as well. Cure obviously is going to be the main one for that, but Keely, you won't get the achievement for getting a spell to level 16 if you level it up outside of combat. So once you're on the cusp of getting one to level 16, so Cure or Teleport or whatnot, make sure you make it hit level 16 from a battle if you want to get that achievement. But yeah, this is a game that's got quite a few new spells. Spells aren't really something I massively use in this game. Other than a couple of instances of certain enemy types, like flans, where you need to, but for the most case it's physical attacking, especially when the fact that every character can equip 2 weapons if needed will be the way to go. I typically keep the party as they are as well, so Therian and Guy will be at the front, and early on I'll keep them with a weapon and a shield, but eventually we'll just transition to 2 weapons on each. Maria I'll keep in the back with a bow, but I also like her to be the main magic focus, and then we'll get a 4th party member that will rotate in and out quite a lot, because as you've seen now we're missing Leon. In the original game, the equipment you had on them would go missing once they left the party, because we're going to rotate through a 4th teammate at various points in the game. In the Pixel Remaster collection, I think some of the other versions, you do not need to worry about that. So in the hideout here, there's also the King of Finn here, who's been struck by an arrow, and basically Hilda's now overseeing all the plans, and we can speak into him. The fact they just let us in to speak with the king randomly is a bit bit questionable. You think the protection would be a little bit better there, but apparently everybody just seems to trust us willy-nilly. They won't let us join, but they trust us enough for us to just wander around the hideout wherever. So the first one of the chests we need to pick up is over here on the left. So make sure you grab this, because I believe this does disappear soon. I can't remember how far in the game until it disappears, but yeah, if you don't pick it up almost straight away, and there's no reason not to pick it up straight away, you'll miss out. And this area is a bit empty at the moment, but we will pile up with a lot of characters in the hideout as the game goes on, and it would just be a load of different interesting dialogue you can speak to people about. So now we're in the town of Finn. So this guy here is Paul. He's the greatest thief in the world, and we're going to deal with him quite a few times throughout the game, but at the moment he's not got anything significant to talk to us about. So there's an inn to the left, the item shop to the top left, and then there's the weapon shops, the magic shops, over in the bottom right. You interact with towns and this by just walking into them, and they'll always put you out at the same location regardless of where you actually leave the town from. So now the main thing I want to do is just get some new gear on my characters, as well as gain a couple of levels and get a bit more gil from doing some battles outside. But yeah, this is the inn, so anytime you need healing up, just walk in, speak to the receptionist, pay a little bit of gold, and they'll heal you up. Thankfully, at the start of the game, it costs 0 gil. And they'll just fully heal your HP and MP, so you'll be good to go. And it's not spell slots in this one, so you can definitely use magic a lot more if that's something you'd like to go with. Item shop. Phoenix Downs are a little bit expensive, and each of these characters you can speak to in here will sell you different things. So the one on the left is the one we'll deal with the most, because he sells you potions and antidotes and whatnot. but nothing we need to pick up right now. So this is Gordon. We're going to have a quick chat with him. And he's somebody who we're going to deal with a couple of times again as well. This over here is just a temple. But unlike Final Fantasy 1, you don't need to go into the temple to resurrect characters, just Phoenix Downs and whatnot will bring them back. And then there's just a magic shop. There's not a white mage or a black mage magic shop anymore, there's just a single one. Which makes buying spells a bit easier, and you can always read it all at the same time. And then the weapon shop, which is the last one. There's a guy in here that's just going to talk to us. He's going to help out blacksmithing as and when he needs, and then it's just different equipment we can buy for everybody, but nothing we overly need right now. But we will probably come back and stock up on a few weapons and a good bit of armor, so obviously it tells you the stock that we have as well, and obviously the amount equipped. So we've got 2 bucklers but only 1 equipped. We've got no leather caps, no leather gloves, and not full-on clothes because a lot of people are wearing armor. But the leather gloves be an improvement for every character we've got, so might as well chuck them on. So magic interference, you might have noticed on each of these. So magic interference is how much it will interfere with your magic, which basically means it will reduce the potency of how good the spell will be. So in case of a damaging spell, they'll do a lot less damage, and healing, they'll do a lot less healing. It was never something I majorly worried about in regards to the gear I'd give my characters. I wouldn't go overboard with it, so like Maria would typically have her magic interference a little bit lower than the other characters, but it was never something I looked at and went, that's the key thing I need to design around, because at least in the case of my playthrough, I just won't be casting spells as much as potentially a lot of people will. But at the end of the day, how you gear up and what you want your focus of attacks to be is entirely up to you. So now we're going to head out and we're going to start dealing with some encounters. I say that and I've accidentally walked straight back in. And there's going to be 3 enemies that we're looking for in this area specifically, and also just farming for gil. So the leg eater is the first one. So nothing truly special about any enemies at this point in the game. We should be able to one-shot them all. And they shouldn't do any significant damage to us, although our HP pools are a bit low. Oh, and it immediately thinks we're that strong against it that it's going to immediately flee away. So Maria missed annoyingly, but fearing hit. So as you can see, because they've attacked and had a turn, their stats went up for that weapon, but Guy didn't, so Guy's stats went up by absolutely 0. Additionally, with stat increases, it entirely depends on the level you're at, or the level that weapon's at, compared to the level that the enemy you're fighting is at. So we might go up to level 2, we will go up to level 2, we might go up to level 3 or 4 based on doing all of this, but we won't hit anything higher than that. So as you can see, Maria got a load of XP on the bow there, and it's gone up again, and obviously Guy's had his buckler and axe go up. And then you can see there's just stat changes going up as and when you do fights as well, but that will all depend on how many actions and stuff you have. But yeah, our HPs are very low, but you may have saw in the boost menu as well, there's something called composite HP increase. So that's just every set amount of fights, your HP will just go up. And it's a useful thing to have on just because it means you scale adequately throughout the game instead of just needing to stand there getting hit in a fight over and over again. But we should very easily get through all the fights, and obviously we've met the Goblin and the Leg Eater now. There's one more enemy we're looking for at this point, which is the Hornet. And we go Guy and Maria have leveled up to 3. Their evasion's just slowly going up because they're being attacked at. But we've not really seen any other stats majorly go up yet, but that will come with a little bit of time. And there's the Hornet. That's the last enemy that we're looking for. So the main thing I'm trying to get up to at the moment for Gil is so that I can buy Cure and fire tomes on at least 2 of the characters, potentially all 3, and then probably the thunder tome as well. The gil you get from a lot of enemies is very random. You'll see that some enemies will drop like 5 to 10 gil, and then sometimes you'll get about 50. It just depends on who you fight, because the amount of enemies you fight, it gives you that many gil drops. So as you can see there, they both drop 9. It gives you an overall amount, and then it tells you how much each enemy you fought dropped. This game as well also has ambush and preemptive strike mechanics. Ambush means all your opponents will go first, and then preemptive strike means you get a whole free turn. Unlike Final Fantasy 9, the amount of enemies allowed on screen has changed from 8 to 9. From 9 to 8, sorry. Because they can only exist in rows of 2 now. So it would only go 4 along, 2 wide. As opposed to what it could be before, where it was 9. And yeah, as you can see, we're getting poisoned here. I believe the inn does restore poison in that game, and then we've seen strength increases finally go up. But poison doesn't affect you as you're walking around in the overworld, but there are 2 different poison types. The other one's called venom, and that one does. So there we go, we've got a good amount of money now, so we can go in and buy cure for everybody, and then I'd like to buy at least fire on Maria. I would have liked to have got it on Furion as well, but we don't quite have enough money saved up. And then to teach characters magic, you just need to go into the items menu and then use the cure tome on each character that you want to learn it on. And then if you enter the magic menu, you can also make people forget magic, because there is a limited amount of slots you can have, but I don't exactly know what they are. And then yeah, as you do each spell cast, they'll slowly go up in stats, and then they'll improve. Keyly as well, I think I haven't mentioned this yet, the MP cost of the spell is always the level that the spell is, and I'm going to keep doing that where I accidentally walk left instead of down first. So a level 1 fire spell will cost 1 MP, and then when the spell levels up, the spell will immediately cost 2 MP, and 3 MP all the way from 1 to 16. They will increase based on that. I'm not sure if this is something that people prefer, but I've tried to do it where if I've fought that encounter previously, I will skip the overall encounter. I'll just have a quick flash up of what I'm fighting, just so that these parts don't end up being like an hour long, or there doesn't end up being like 30 parts, just because 50 to 60% of an episode is just you watching me fight a variety of different monsters. I'd rather keep it more interesting and on track, where I just show the enemies I'm looking for, all the key boss fights, and me exploring around the areas. So in this area there's a couple of new items we can get if we need, mainly weapons, but nothing specific your characters will necessarily need, but stuff that's fine to get if you need to. But this is just a temporary stop while we head back up off to Finn, which obviously we were told not to go there because the Empire is still there. And the Emperor, he could still be there. He's the one that's summoned all of those enemies. But the Javelin here is a weapon that will be improvement over any of the equipment that we currently have. So who you want to equip it on is completely up to you. And also, if you stop leveling on any of your weapons, feel free to just swap the weapons around for everybody so that you can get a variety of weapons leveled, because it just affects their overall usage and ability with them. You don't have to, like, you'll find pretty quickly near the mid-game, or early to mid-game, that you'll just be preset on specific items, and then by the late game each of your characters will have just weapons that will never change, or if you find one that will be a swap over, then you'll just put it on and it will level really, really quickly because of the enemies that you're currently fighting. Gear-wise, this guy just sells the exact same gear. Or defense-wise, there's nothing to grab there. There's a couple of areas that haven't been taken over by the Empire yet, but that's soon to happen. And they keep mentioning the Dreadnought, so there's something that's being built that's obviously going to overrun all the remaining forces if there's if it's allowed to proceed that way, and what it is and what it'll do, we'll have to find out soon. But yeah, Finn is where we're going to want to go now after talking to that guy in the top left. I don't think you need to talk to him to be able to go there, but it's somebody who gives us a bit of a point of dialogue for where to go. And Finn is just to the northwest of where we are now. You just go around the lake that we're at. And there's going to be a couple more enemies we can look for on the way between here and there. If you don't find them, we can find them a lot later. I don't think I'm going to be very likely to find them, but there's 4 that you could encounter. Those being the Magician, the the Forest Rakos, a Soldier, and Were-Rats. So I'm going to have a quick attempt to see if I can get any to spawn. And if I don't get any to spawn, I'll just proceed into Finn. Because these are very rare encounters, and they are definitely enemies you will encounter at another point in the game. So don't get too worried if you can't encounter them. I was just hoping that I could to show you them early. No, we're still just getting the same enemies, so I'm just going to have a last quick bit of wander around, and then we'll head into Finn. Because Finn isn't too long of an area. No, nothing over here either. The continents are a bit bigger and a bit more connected compared to Final Fantasy 1, but the routes and where it tells you to go isn't always the most obvious because it's a lot more open world. So yeah, we did find them, so we'll just have a quick save and then we'll head on into Finn. Where we want to sneak into a pub and definitely do not fight or speak to any of the enemies inside the town, because the captains will mess you up. You are not at the point that you can deal with them. It's just as we've heard, the city is crawling with them. You have to be careful. So yeah, you can walk up to this person and speak to them. Don't. There will be regular monster encounters, but I'm going to show you what happens if you do these. So they immediately recognise us as rebels. We get to fight a captain. So, you know, we're going to do our attacks. Oh look, it does 0 damage. And we've been one shot. They're not quite as strong as the Black Knights we fought at the opening cutscene, but yeah, we stand absolutely no chance of dealing with these. So yeah, that's what happened. Thankfully, this game's got an autosave, so we come back right in here. But if not, we saved outside anyway, so it wouldn't be too much of a problem. So Finn's got the same set of stores as the other place does. Why there's random encounters inside the village, I don't know. You'd feel like these captains would be fighting the monsters, or apparently all the monsters are all tamed. And they don't seem to be bothered by us fighting monsters, but you follow the route I'm taking. We want to go all the way to the top, and then without going too far out so that we trigger the leaving of the area and go back into the overworld, we want to head all the way around right and then down, and we'll get to a building that's on the outside of the wall. So just down here. God, the encounter rate in this game is insane. And here we are in a pub. And there's lots of Imperials in here and somebody in the back right who we want to go and speak to. Speak to the bartender, give him the password that we learned earlier of Wild Rose, and he realises we're with the rebels, so he'll give us access to the secret back room. And this game will have many hidden walls and areas you can walk through, but it doesn't just show you. So if we proceed to the right, you'll notice we can just walk in, and we go into a new area. Yeah, there'll be a lot of secret walls like that throughout the game that you'll just see a couple of treasure chests. You'll be like, how do I get there? And I'll just show you that you just walk through this wall and you're done. Down here there's 3 treasure chests. Make sure you pick these up. And then there's somebody we can speak to into the bed. Are you going to turn me over to the Empire? No, we're friends. We're rebels. This is Scott. He's the brother of the guy we met earlier called Gordon. But unfortunately, he's been very wounded based on the invasion that they previously had, and I don't think he's going to make it. And we found out that Borgen's betrayed us, whoever Borgen is. And he wants to tell Hilda that he loves her. Except for, no he doesn't. That's going to be kept a secret. Mary wants to know if we found Leon, but I don't think anybody really knows who or where he is. But we get a ring, which would be a key item. He's growing tired, he wants to go to rest, and like that, he's gone. Thankfully that doesn't happen to us if we get knocked out and need to use a Phoenix down, but anybody else we meet will just disappear right before us. No bodies or anything, they're just gone, poof. And yeah, that's our interaction with Scott. He's he's gone now. He doesn't have too much of an impact into this game, other than he would have liked to have told Hilda he loves her, and he's Gordon's brother. So we're gonna have to relay the news to both of them. But yeah, we're done here. So now it's time just to head all the way back to Altair. So head on outside the pub, and then you can go directly right because that will trigger us moving into the old world, and then head all the way back along. But yes, just make sure you're a bit careful when you were trying to get round to the pub because you can very easily step a bit too far out. No new enemies we're going to need to look for on the way, so just head back round the way we came, and all the way back round to Finn. Then we'll have a lot of dialogue to do again. But man, the encounter rate in this game I think has got to be the highest of any Final Fantasy game, at least that I can remember. It just feels like every 5-10 steps there's going to be an encounter. And it does get a little bit tedious, but I'd like to show you the encounters I have just so you know the state I'm in and don't just think that the game is necessarily as much of a breeze as you think it is. And yeah, I'm just going to have a quick switch over of equipment here, just so everybody's leveling up a few different things. But you don't need to if you don't want to. And yeah, you can equip 2 weapons on everybody, so they level 2 weapons at the same time. Occasionally, I'll show you the outcomes of some battles, just so you can get a quick rundown of where my stats are and what's been leveled up. But if you play through similarly to how I am, then you'll mostly keep pace, or you should entirely keep pace. So we are back to Altair. I'm going to quickly go and rest up, and then I will catch up with interacting with Hilda and relaying the message to everybody in the next episode. So I hope to see you then, and have a good one. Enjoy.